All right, so here we are. We're at the full implementation part of the Hacking Education series or plan. So this next video will walk you through and take some time explaining how you would go about really diving in and doing all or almost all of the aspects of Edpuzzle. So this is a long one, broken up into pieces and bits. So hopefully you can you give this a shot, this full implementation. All right, well, what is Edpuzzle? Right, so here you go. You can see I'm logged in as my student, my Mickey Mouse student account. And above all else, Edpuzzle is a way that you can ensure your students are engaging with the content and hopefully understanding the content you create and share with them using videos. So let's take a look at my one example here, Umbrella Period 2. This is a student video. This is from last year or a couple years ago. But just to show you what a video would look like on the student end of Edpuzzle, right? They watch the video. I'm going to mute myself here. And as the video progresses across the bottom, you can see you have little points where you pause. Each of these points is something that I assigned as a teacher for the students to do and or interact with. So I gave a question here. During the Civil War, most doctors did not realize the illness came from germs, right? True. Move on. I continue. Students get immediate feedback. You can set different things, and we'll talk about this. But I just wanted to show you again what each of these different things. Oh, look, there we go. Got it wrong. What each of these different questions look like. All right. So hopefully you'll keep watching and you'll see how you can do and use Edpuzzle right now. We've done all this stuff so far, and let's get into the weeds here on how you use it. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to go to edpuzzle.com, obviously, and you're going to log in. Or the first time you'll probably have to sign up. When you sign up, you're going to choose I'm a teacher. And then you're going to sign up with Google. Now, I already have an account, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to log in. So I'm going to show you again what it looks like when you do that same choice when you log in. I'm a teacher. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to sign in with Google. All right, and you may or may not see this right now. I'm authenticating my Google account and log in. It brings you right to your dashboard. All right. And just as you look around on your dashboard, a couple different things that you can see within. First, if you take notice, I have folders set up here, and the more you use this is something you might want to get into a little bit later on. You don't have to. Down the left-hand side, you see content. Because I am connected with my OJR Google, I use that one. I'm connected to everybody who has content here in the O&J Roberts Middle School, or really our district, so I can look through and I can see all the people in our building who have made content. And then I can change filters and look really for everything. So here, Bechtel Fuller, Sheila Hinckley, I have all them. I can look through different curriculum. They'll give you ideas that you can use. So if you're kind of stuck, you can scroll down here. And this is where you have different popular channels. So Edpuzzle, these are videos that are already created for you. All right. So if you want to do something on, I don't know, let's say the Louisiana Purchase. I can see some of these Edpuzzles, and maybe I just want to use that. You can look through other popular channels. YouTube, Khan Academy, Crash Course is another very famous popular one. All right. Now, if you notice across the top of my page, I have content. I have grade books. So Edpuzzle does have a grade book like everything else. You can use it or not. You can see I have 2 people in this class. You can look at my classes, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. All right, so now that you have a little bit better understanding of what the dashboard looks like, we actually are going to look into the My Classes feature because, again, one of the most powerful things here is you can connect your Edpuzzle with your Google Classroom. So how you'll do that is if I come up here where it says Class Options or click My Classes, I'm going to click Plus. All right, I'm going to connect LMS classes. And here we are, Google Classroom. So I'm going to select Google Classroom, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to authenticate my Google account again, just like we did before. You're going to ask for a whole bunch of permissions. You're going to allow those permissions. And now you can either connect or you can add new classes. So here are all the different ones that I am currently enrolled as a teacher that I can add to the Google Classroom. Now, let's just say, for instance, I want to use one that I know won't really mess with anybody. So let's go with EdTech Google Classroom for this year. All right, so then I just simply hit import classes, and it's going to pull over my entire class roster into Edpuzzle. So you can go ahead then and you can set up your classes using Google Classroom. Now, if you're not using Google Classroom or you just want to do something different and you kind of want to set it up on the fly, you can also do that. Instead of importing, you're just going to add a new class. You'd call it whatever you want. So maybe you want to have one class for all of your stuff. Brilla. So I call whatever subject. I'm going to hit create class. Now it says class type here, classic or open. Right here it says classic is the teacher's favorite. When your students log in and sign up, you'll get the most analytics Edpuzzle has to offer. I would keep it at classic. Don't mess with this one. Click create. And now here I have another class that I can use to invite students. When you invite students, a couple choices. You can send them an email, you can copy the link and paste it, or you can give them a code to invite. Easiest way, though, however, is to go through your Google Classroom, and you can just connect your LMSs through your Google Classrooms. Okay, so that's really how you're going to go about creating your classes. So we've taken a look now at your landing page. We've taken a look at creating your classes. I want to look at the content itself, right? So we come back up here to the content, and this is where you land. Again, we looked at these three different options, and then down here, these different popular channels. Now, you can reuse and edit people's content at all times. So let's say you like somebody's Edpuzzle. Right? You look at one and, this one about debit cards looks really great. You see down here, copy, assign, edit, share, preview. So I can make a copy of this and I can change things to myself. I can assign it right away. If I click assign, I choose which classrooms I'll assign it to. All right. I'm going to kind of go through that in a little bit. And then, well, actually, let's go through that now. So if I'm going to assign something, I'm going to assign to either one classroom or to all. Notice you can go through and it says here, assign all, or you can assign manually. So there's a couple different cool things in here, right? So if I don't want to assign it to all the teachers, I can go through. If I have a differentiated instruction, I can select which students I'd like to assign it to. You can set your due date and time, just like you would in a Google Classroom assignment. I love these two things right here: prevent skipping and turn on closed captions. Preventing skipping, that's really a personal preference. There are times where I do prevent skipping, and that will disable the fast forward feature in the video. But there's other times where I take it off. So it's up to you. Turn on closed captions. It'll get as close as it can to closed captioning. So I love that one. Again, you can assign it now, or you can do it later like you would. This just saves it. You can't schedule an assignment on Edpuzzle like you can in Google Classroom, unfortunately. So that's how you go to assign one that you use. Now I want to show you if you copy one. Right now I have my copied here to your class. So let's go take a look at this copied one, and we can edit. Okay, and you can edit one just like you would your own. So I want to show you how you would create your own content here in Edpuzzle. So I want to go back, all right, and let's just start from here. Most of you will either create your own, add your own videos, or go from YouTube or something along those lines. So let's say, for instance, that I am doing, here we go. This is something you can see what I search a lot of, the Atlantic slave trade. Right. So I search my video, whatever the topic you want it to be. So let's call it Edpuzzle. And this shows you the little preview. Right. And this down here, it'll show you 49 video versions. So these are ones that that people have already created using this video. Probably the most important and powerful, one of the most powerful parts of Edpuzzle, and that's adding your events or your own content to these videos. So you can see the YouTube video that I did here, I made a copy of it. And when you make a copy of the YouTube videos, when you find them, now you can go ahead and when you edit it, you get these three different options. All right, you can cut your video, you can do a voiceover, or you can add your own questions. So I'll show you how to do this. All right, so I'll duplicate here, and it says watch. And now here's where I'm going to edit my video. Right now I get this little blue bar down here. So if I decide I want to start it later, I can do that. I can record my own voiceovers. All right. And right now you can't do it over YouTube, so you can do it on yours, or you can ask questions. Now notice when you have questions, there's three different choices. You could do multiple choice, open-ended, or a note is just if you want to bring your own, like highlight your own ideas or thoughts to this. So wherever you are in the video, when you click on the question, it'll automatically tag that at that time, and you can enter your questions. All right. You answer questions. Yes. No. If you're graded, you can set which is the right answer, which is the wrong answer. You can give feedback automatically. You can add more choices, a whole host of things. Hit save. And you can see down here is where I have an event now on my video. So as I play, I want to add maybe a note. Here's where a note just highlights your thoughts. Hit save. So now I have two different events here. Maybe I want to add an open-ended question. Save. Once you have all your different events done, you can see what your video events are listed over here. You're going to hit finish. And now comes a time where you're able to go ahead and assign, preview, or set your settings. Okay. And just like before, we talked about how you assign it. You can go through, you can select your classes with whom you'd like to assign this. Editing and creating the events is the same for when you create your own videos, and it's pretty simple how to do this one. All right, so let's take a look at how you can add your own content and add your own videos, because that's really where most of you might be doing, right? So when you do this, add your content, you're going to actually select upload a video. Some of you might have the videos downloaded to your desktop, or they're in your Google Drive. Which I think this is great. You can use your recordings for your Google Meets, and you can go ahead and you can bring them over. So when you click on your Google Drive, you'll probably be asked to authenticate the first time, and you just get all of your videos here. Usually by most recent, you can search them. All right, so let's say I want to use this video. I just import the video, and then here it is down here. All right, just like everything else, when I go here, I can edit. And I can cut, I can do my voiceovers, I can do my questions, and I can finish it. So using Edpuzzle to make sure the students are engaged with your Google Meets and your own screencast is incredibly simple and powerful. Front end of Edpuzzle. And I think what the most exciting and most important part of Edpuzzle, really, it's the back end. It's the analytics. It's the information you get from the students, right? Because I think, one of the biggest points of frustrations I hear from so many teachers are you create all this stuff and the kids aren't engaging, and there's just no way to tell if they're engaging or not. And then you have to go out of your way. You've done a Google Meet. They didn't show up. They didn't watch the video. They're asking you questions you've already answered. They're taking more of your time, and it's frustrating, right? So here's what we can do, right? You put your stuff from your Google Meet, any video, anything you want your students to watch, you put it into Edpuzzle. You give them questions to answer if you'd like, or at the very least, you just have them watch it through Edpuzzle, and here's why. All right, so I am going to show, I'm going to go through some of my old classes here. So I'm going to have to put a large block on the side of my screen just so you don't see names, because I want to show you actually like student responses. So this is one that I did. You can see here from 2018, 2019, and I can look at here. Let's go slavery crash course through history. You can see right away how much of the video was watched by each of the students. You can see if it's turned in or not. And you can also take a look. It says 20 answers to grade. This is where you take a look at the questions that the students answered. Right? It gives you open-ended questions. You can go through and you can grade their questions one by one or all at once. So with one quick view, you can see how much of your video was actually watched. So this student here watched 80% of my video, and maybe the last 2 minutes of the video were exactly where I wanted to get the directions. They ask a question and they say to me, here's this. I can quick check and say, oh, sorry, bud. Go back and watch the last 2 minutes you didn't watch the Edpuzzle video. Then tell me if you have questions. Guys, it's not a fix-all. It's not going to fix all the problems. However, adding this little bit of accountability, this one little piece where you can check and see that they're actually engaging with your content, I think can save some major points of frustration and time. Eventually, what I started doing is I was putting all of my lectures, anything that I wanted the students to make sure they were hearing from me, I put it on Edpuzzle. And sometimes that meant I did it twice. Right. Sometimes I would record the Edpuzzle and deliver the instructions in class just so it gave those students choice, right? Some kids love to hear from you. They need to hear from you in person, not just love, they need to hear from you. They need you there to walk them through that. Some kids would much rather prefer that ability to go back, rewatch, rewind, watch it on their own time. But here, at least, you have some sort of check to make sure that it's being watched. The students are engaging. So hopefully you give Edpuzzle a shot. Hopefully the back end is really what makes it exciting for you, that you can see these analytics. And if you need any help in doing it, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm excited to hopefully provide you with something that can take a little bit off your plate and ease some of the frustrations and anxieties you're naturally feeling.